Hello you guys, I hope you're doing well. This is Ben here, otherwise known as Vertigo, and we're flying again, obviously. So my last video was, I believe November 22nd. Today's December 2nd? Yeah. So, what, 10-ish days ago? Roughly? A week and a half. Streamed a little bit since then. At any rate, about this flight, so we're on the ground at Dulles, and we're going to be flying down to KMCO, that's Orlando International. We're flying, as you can see, as United. We're back in the PMDG NGX. This is the 737-800, obviously with winglets, the current United Continental Merger livery, the United variant, obviously. We're at gate Charlie 27. This is technically a heavy gate, but this is the gate that the aircraft that made this same flight today left from. So we will be using the same gate. Call sign, or sorry, not call sign, rather, flight number is 778. Looks like the sun just passed behind a cloud. Oh, now it's kind of back. Oh, it's just some little P3D bug. Alright. Well, it's either the jetway or the sun. We'll go with the sun, because that looks nice. Yeah, right, so flight number 778, United 778 is our call sign. We're going to be arriving at gate 44, going up to flight level 340. It's late afternoon here at Dulles. Now it is getting into the thick of winter, so there's little daylight to play with. We'll definitely be landing at night. You might get some kind of sunset-ish late afternoon dusk views as we depart. I'm not quite sure. We'll be working with my checklist today, and I think that kind of sums it up. These are still the Rec soft clouds, for those of you wondering what clouds I'm using. These are Rec soft clouds. And I'm using Active Sky 16. I do have the most recent beta. I can't recall the specific version, but as of December 2nd, it's the most recent beta, as far as I know. If there's anything else worth mentioning, it's slipping my mind. I'm still using the exact same visual effects that I was using, as the sun goes again. Exact same visual effects I was using, as per my tweaking video that came out, excuse me, about a month or so ago, or maybe two or 3 months ago, actually. So, take a look at that before asking any questions about my setup, and if your questions still aren't answered, then of course I'm happy to answer them. As always, if I've missed anything, if you guys have questions, totally welcome to ask. I'll try my best to answer them. But we'll hop into the flight deck now, and we'll get started. Alright guys, welcome into the flight deck here. This is just your standard 737-800. You've seen this all before. Not a lot to explain here. And this isn't really much of a tutorial video so much as it is a more of, as the jetway goes, more of just a flying video, and you can follow along. If you have specific questions, you're welcome to ask. And then obviously I do have an NGX tutorial series that might be worth checking out if you have any questions. At any rate, we've already boarded. Fuel's on board. The aircraft is kind of preliminarily set up. You can see the IRSs are aligning. So we're going to get the passenger signs on at this point. The window heat we can get as well. We'll turn that on. And we could actually use a little bit of lighting in here. It is rather dark outside, pretty cloudy day, so flight deck is not terribly bright, so we'll get the dome light on. Right, signs, or belt signs rather, on. Window heat is on. We'll set the pressurization panel. So landing altitude at Orlando is about 100 feet, and we're going up to flight level 340. Pressurization panel is set auto. That's what we're looking for, and we can also check our transfer excuse me, our instrument transfer and display switches, and if we take a look here, we can see that they are all normal and auto. Okay, so with that done, we can come down here to the pedestal. I don't believe we have any control. Let me take a look. I didn't mention that we are on VATSIM, and yes, no, there is no control. Whoa, that was, yes, no, there is no control. There's no control online. That's a simpler way of putting that. So squawk. Default IFR here in the US, which is 2200, and we will monitor Unicom 122.8. We can get right into the FMS, I believe. Yeah, let's do it. So, airport, we're at Dulles KIAD. And then if we grab the GPS position here, we can align the IRS, and we're going from Dulles to Orlando, which is KMCO. Runway for departures 30. They like to use 30 here at Dulles, and the wind's 350 at like 15 or something like that. Yeah, 340 at 12. Flight number is, of course, United 778. That rolls off the tongue nicely. And we can put in our routing. So if I pull open PFPX in my other monitor, our routing takes us to GSO. I suppose that's a VOR. Let's have a look. Yeah, the Greensboro VOR, GSO. That's Golf Sierra Oscar. GSO, there we go. From GSO, we join an airway. It's the J75 in like so. And then we take it to CAE. That's another VOR. I don't have the identifier off the top of my head. Actually, yes I do. What am I talking about? CAE, that's the Columbia VOR. We take that to the Savannah VOR, SAV. From the Savannah VOR, there it is. Oh, sorry, we do have okay, sorry, J51 to Savannah, that is better. And then we join the J103 from Savannah, another airway. And we take that to OMN, I believe this is the Ormond VOR. And then we do have a departure, it is the JW1 Greensboro transition off runway 30, that is correct, and the arrival is the, I don't know how you would pronounce this, the Colward 4? Colrold? That's a bizarre combination of letters, but that is the one. It's the Ormond Beach VOR transition, and the approach, let's see, we arrive at gate 44 now. I believe they'll be landing south if the wind stays as it is. Now gate 44, what side of the terminal is this on here at Orlando? Let's see, gate 44. Okay, so it's on the, there it is, the southwest side, so we'll want to land on runway 18 right. I believe is what they have an ILS for. Let's check the charts. 18 right. Is that correct? 18. Where are the 18s? Okay. Yeah, here are the charts. ILS. Okay, I'm not seeing an ILS here. ILS. I see 17. Okay, yeah, 18 right. There it is. So ILS 18 right. Just want to make sure that chart existed, which it does. Pull that open. Do we have a the hole up transition? Do we want to use that? Taking a look here, I don't believe so. We have no use for it, so we can call that good. Activate it and execute it, and we have good routing here. If we take a look, we can quickly brief the departure. So the JW departure, top altitude just takes us up to 3,000 feet. We're going to climb on assigned heading by ATC. We will self-assign that, and then we will self-vector to Hafner and then join the arrival from there. So if we go in the plan mode here on the ND, which allows us to step through our various fixes. Here we go. So we can see there's Hafner now. If we zoom out, it wants to take us direct to Hafner. We're just going to fly a heading and then turn ourselves there. And then if we step through the routing and take this down all the way to the arrival here into Orlando, you can see if we reference the chart. Here we go. So landing south, KMCO landing south, and other airport lands. Expect radar vectors at or Charlie Whiskey. Whoops. Let's try that again. Charlie Whiskey Romeo Lima Delta Carrolled, however that is pronounced. We will expect radar vectors, so we'll kind of fly a base leg off of that and then join the approach, which you can see the localizer extending out here, and there's Hammy appears to be one of the fixes on the ILS. So that is good to go. We got a good flight plan. We're pretty briefed on what we're doing, both on the way out and on the way in. So, 0 fuel weight will autofill. Our reserve fuel is 3.8. Cost index will make 38. Flight level 340. That's all good. Takeoff performance. Let's calculate it here. Takeoff off runway 30. Okay, we're going to have a 22 kd rate. The assumed OAT by Top Cat is 49, and this is with a flap setting of 1. Center of gravity is 23.1, trim 5.27, V-speeds, autofill. There we go. The FMS or CDU pre-flight is done. We'll set the parking brake. We will open the number 1 forward fuel pump. We also have the center pumps open. We have a bit of fuel in the center tanks. And we'll start up the APU, like so. We can set the MCP, so V2 is 143. We will fly, let's see, what heading do we want to fly on departure? We'll fly like a 210 heading on departure. Make a left-hand turn. Top altitude is 3,000 feet on the SID. Flight directors can come up. We'll get data and traffic on the ND and terrain data and traffic on the right-hand ND. Speed, heading, and altitude. Flight directors, and we can go ahead. And the only other thing really to do at this point is set the altimeter. The altimeter is 3004. There we go. And the APU is available. We'll transfer power to the APU gens. The yaw damper can come on. Call over GSX. We are ready for push and start. Now, what direction are we going to want our nose? United Airlines will be our handler. Want our nose to the right, it appears. Yeah, nose right, tail left. Okay, so menu, FS actions, ground connections, everything can go. Doors are closed. Open the remainder of the fuel pumps. Anti-collision light is coming on. We're ready to go.
Flight deck, this is ground crew, stand by for pushback.
We'll get some lighting on in here while we wait for them to do their thing. Again, since it is rather dark out. We can leave the panel lighting off for now. Would that be a good thing to have on? Sort of. Yeah.
Locking gear.
We'll turn that on a bit. Okay. Cool, cool. So the ground crew's doing their thing. They're getting us ready here for pushback and start.
Ground crew departure check is complete. Nose gear steering
Set the
disconnected for
transponder
push.
to auto.
Release parking brakes.
Brakes are released.
Okay, here we go. All clear behind the aircraft. Safe to start engines at your discretion.
And we'll start number 2.
All engines clear. Start that way.
So we're going nose to the right, tail to the left. We'll be facing the west. We'll taxi out via Delta, take a left on Yankee, and then a left at Yankee 11 to join what appears to be Quebec to runway 30. We'll feed fuel into engine number 2 as N2 rises, or sorry, N1 rises rather through 2.5%. And that would be good to have there on the lower ECAM. Let's make it more of like a 190 heading on departure. 200 heading is probably our best bet. Roundabout there. Okay, there goes the starter cutout. We get a excuse me, a good start on number 2, and we'll start engine number 1, looking for about 25% N2, and then we'll feed in fuel. Okay, there's 23%, 24%, and 25% N2 fuel going into engine number 1. I said I was using the checklist today, and I haven't used it. I make this mistake all the time. I forget that I have one. We're in totally fine shape. I'm just glancing
Set
over
parking
it
brakes,
now.
please.
We'll go ahead and set the parking brakes for him. We'll just jump right in where we would be now. We won't bother catching up with what we missed. We'll just start with the before taxi checklist here when we're ready. So there goes the starter cutout. On number 1, we got good starts on both engines. Transfer power to the engine generators. The APU can go. APU bleed can go. Packs can come on. Isolation valve can go to auto. Electric hydraulics coming
Unlocking
on.
gear.
Probe heat coming on. Start switches to continuous. Auto throttle armed. Auto brake to
Nose wheel
RTO.
steering connected. Pins removed. Tow vehicle disconnected.
And we'll take flaps 1. Our trim for takeoff is 5.27, so we will set that accordingly. There's about 5 and 2.7 right in there-ish. That'll work. Can get rid of the engine displays there in the lower ND.
Clear behind the aircraft.
Or sorry,
left and right.
lower ECAM, not ND. Taxi light can come on. It's rather dark out, so we can get the turn-offs on as well. Well, we'll get the turn-offs once we're off the terminal. Transponder's already set. We'll check the flight controls. Flight controls look good to me. No issues there. So power's been transferred, APU's taken care of, bleeds, packs, all good to go. Hydraulics probe heat, trim set, flap set, flight controls are checked, start switches are continuous, taxi light is on, transponder set. Flaps, yeah, so we're ready to go for taxi. So we'll be straight ahead here on Delta, and then we'll take a left down here. I'm not sure if I'll time lapse this taxi or if I will just cut it. Somebody asked for a time lapse, so I'm kind of considering it, but yeah, I'll see. At any rate, I will catch you guys once we're at the runway, and we should be just about ready to go at that time, so I will see you there. Alright guys, so we're just about ready to go here. Short of runway 30. You can see some still that glitchy, buggy crap happening with the lighting rather, but it is what it is. At any rate, transponder set, weather radar is on. I got rid of the dome light as well, and yeah, we're about ready to go. Turn-offs are on as well. So we'll get the strobe, we'll get the landing lights. And we'll start the clock, and we'll be on our way. Auto throttle is indeed armed. I did not forget to do that. So 400 feet above the ground, we'll take heading select. Advance to 40%. Let me try and keep the nose straight. That would be a good idea. Engines are stable. And takeoff. There's 80 knots.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Okay, positive climb, gear up. Okay, 400 feet. Heading select. We were a little late there. We're more at like 500 feet, but that's fine. It's not a huge deal. Okay, there's N1. We'll take level change, and we'll bug up to flaps 1 speed. Call it about 180. Autopilot can go in. Auto brake off, gear off. 1,000 to go for 3,000. We'll bug our altitude up. We can just go all the way up to 340 since we are uncontrolled. And we'll take flaps up. And bug up to flaps up speed. And we'll hop down here to the legs page and we will proceed direct to Hafner from present position. Execute that and we can take LNAV and VNAV. Start switch is off. We can get rid of the retracts, the turn-offs and the taxi lights. So the gear's up and off. Auto brake is off. Got the start switches. We got the lights. And we got the flaps. And we'll get the fixed landing lights at 10,000 feet. We're direct Hafner. We're on our way. Yeah, really beautiful evening here. You can see the sun reflecting off those houses and it just looks incredible. Wow. These clouds look really nice. Alright guys, well enjoy the views and I will see you as we're getting closer closer to our top of descent, and I will bring you guys back so we can brief that and I can inform you about kind of what's going to be going on when we descend and so forth, as I always do. And so we'll do that, we'll run through that, and I'll see you then. Enjoy the views. Welcome back to the flight deck, guys. So we're just under 80 miles until our top of descent, so let's quickly brief what we're going to be doing so you guys are in the loop. We're on the arrival. There's an intersection called Lama, L-A-M-M-A. We're crossing that at 12,000 feet, and because we're landing south, we're crossing also at 250 knots. So we can reset the MCP altitude here to 12,000 to cross at Lama. Pressurization panel's already set, landing altitude approximately 100 feet. ILS frequency and course, so 18 right. Let me have a look at the weather here at Orlando and see if they'll still be landing south. The wind is now actually out of the north at 9 knots, so we may be landing to the north. Let me go ahead and do this. First of all, I'm going to delete the speed restriction and put in 12,000 feet here at Lama. Do that again. Now we'll be landing on whatever is the reciprocal to 18 right, which is 36 left. So let's pull open the chart for 36 left if I can find it. ILS. I wonder if they even have an ILS for 36 left. I'm not seeing it. Let's have a look down here in the legs page. Arrival. ILS 35 right, 35 left, 36. Do they have a, yeah, okay, then we'll take 36 right on the approach. Let me have a look at the chart here. Yep, that works. So we will throw that in there. So the ILS frequency for 36 right, it's going to be, let me grab the chart. It's 110.7, so we'll put that in both of the navigation radios. 110.7 in the left and the right. The course is 005. Like so. Auto brake, we got plenty of runway to play with. However, maybe we don't want to roll quite so far. Let me have a look here. Where's our gate? We're going to 44. So yeah, actually the further we roll, the longer of a taxi we have. So we'll go with an auto brake of 2. Our minimums on the approach, I don't think there's any kind of weather that we're dealing with in terms of visibility. Let me have a look. Yeah, visibility is fine. So our minimums on the barometric minimums will be 292. There we go, 292 is in, our minimums are set. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be flying, I can quickly step through this. We're going to be flying, if I step through our fixes here, and then we'll see the runway here in just a moment. Okay, so if I zoom in here, what we can see, so we're going to be flying essentially a right downwind. And we'll fly that downwind, and then here around knobs, we're going to turn ourselves onto final there at Sulky and fly it in at that point. It's fairly straightforward. We don't have to do a lot of work in terms of setting ourselves up. It's a pretty easy approach, nothing out of the ordinary. The last thing that we can do is set our landing speed. So we got, what, 9.7 on board? Currently, we're estimated to have, whoops, 9.7 on board, estimated to have at Orlando 8.4, so it's 1.3, we'll call it about 120-ish. So with a flap setting of flaps 30, we'll be about 135 knots on the landing speed. And there we go, we got 39 till top of descent. We'll get the passenger signs on here shortly, and we'll be starting down fairly soon. And yeah, that covers us. So enjoy the views on the way down. Hopefully I can get some decent ones. It will be night here very soon. You can see the sun's just setting there on the horizon. But hopefully we can still get some good views of the descent on the way down, and I will see you guys as we're getting ready to land. Alright guys, welcome back into the flight deck. So we're just at about 6,600 feet here, 6,600, and we're abeam with the runway. Take a look at the ND here, you can see we're abeam the runway. That is our runway, that's our approach course. We're going to be, well, we currently are on our downwind leg, our right downwind, and we're going to make a right turn to base and then join final. So pressure set to the local setting 300, it's now 3001, it was 3010, so we will adjust that. Our fixed landing lights are on, as you can see, and we'll start to bring out some flaps here shortly, and I'll try to get us descending here a bit more expeditiously. So let's take the altitude down to 3,000, get down there fairly quickly. We'll keep the speed at, let's call it about 220 for now, and we will take flaps 1 with that said. Speed should slowly start to come down here a bit, which it is nicely. We can get the engine start switches to continuous as well. Alright, speed's dropping down to about 220 knots there. Let's keep it going down to 210 even. Alright, that's a bit better. We've bled off some speed. We should start to get a bit of a descent going now. As you can see there, that fix there off the approach called Silky, we need to be at or above 3,000 feet, so we're about 5,800. We're in a good spot here. As we make the turn to base, I'll drop the speed down to 180 and take flaps 5. So the field now is kind of off the right-hand wing there, a little further back. You can see Orlando and the area around the airport's kind of interesting. It's definitely there's a city and you can see the lights, but there's a lot of just kind of expanses with no kind of infrastructure whatsoever. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just these big open kind of undeveloped swaths of land. Okay, 4,700 feet now, and what we'll start to do here fairly soon is make that turn to base. So we'll have about a 280 heading on the turn. Make it 275 even, that might be better. Okay, and we'll start to make that turn. Take the speed down to about 180 and we will take flaps 5. There we go, speed's bleeding. We'll level off to drop the speed down to 180 and then the plane will continue its descent. There we go, through 4,000 now. Since we're doing fairly well here, I'm going to punch in a vertical speed and we're just going to make it about 750 feet per minute. See the throttles, the outer throttle will spool up here as we level off and shallow out our descent. Obviously needs more forward thrust to keep the speed up. Okay, and we'll start this turn here to final shortly. About 2.5 miles now from the localizer. There we are. Okay, we'll start the turn to final. Make it about a, what do we want? 330 heading, or yeah, 330 heading should do. Perfect. We will arm approach as we roll out here. And we're in pretty good shape. We're well ahead of the plane. This is what, a 35 degree intercept course? We could make it a little more. A little less severe of an angle there to intercept and keep that turn going to 335. Yeah, that'll work perfectly. So let's see here. So we roll out about 10 miles from the runway. Let me check to make sure there's no other aircraft in the area on VAT Spy. Make sure we don't bump into anyone. There are 2 departures at MCO, and there's another arrival Frontier flight. Okay, well this will be interesting. Hopefully no mid-air collisions. Okay, that guy looks like he's about to land on the parallels. It appears so. Looks like he's landing south. I'm not sure, maybe they are landing south, but the wind is very clearly out of the north. Okay, there comes the localizer. Here comes the glide as well. And we will drop the gear on the spoilers and flaps 15. Okay, and we'll drop our speed down to 167 or so. We can call it 170. Lights coming on. Missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. That is set. Go around altitude set. Gear down. Lights are on. We're standing by in the landing flaps and our VREF speed. Landing speed is 135. We'll call it 140. Add 5 knots to that. And landing flaps. Standing by in the landing flaps. Yeah, it looks like there's another aircraft out there. That appears to be a departure. Yeah. Okay, what was that call there on VATSIM? Okay. Oh no, that guy's coming right at me. Yeah, this guy right here, he's coming. Okay, well this is a little interesting. It looks like he's overflying. Yeah, okay, cool, cool. We'll take flaps 30. Looks like this is all going to sort itself out. Runway is just there in sight. If we take a look, there's no no lights, no PAPI, and no VASI, but we'll make do with the flight directors there. Okay, so we're coming up on 1,000 feet and we're fully configured. My aircraft, my throttles, flight directors can go out. Alright, and I have control. Let's see if I can put down a decent landing. Slightly low there, just correcting a bit. See, we have a slight crosswind there off the right-hand side of the plane. A little bit of crab into that. Not any kind of significant crab though. Speed's good, altitude's good. There are our minimums. We're landing.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
See, we had to kick the left rudder there the last second. Ease the nose down, bit of forward pressure. speed's decreasing, and there's 80. We will stow the reversers, and we will begin manually braking, and we'll make off to the right here. And we're down. Let's get vacated. Fire up the APU. Start switches can go. Strobe can go. Stop the clock. That was an hour and 54 minutes. It's right about where we'd expect it. Weather radar can go. Clean up the NDs here. Bring up the flaps. Put the spoilers away. Set the transponder. Clean up the other NDs over here. And that just about does us. Let's see here. Where are we going and where exactly are we? Let me slow the plane down and see where we're headed. So, going to gate 44, we're going to swing a right here on Bravo 6, and we'll take this in to gate 44. So yeah, the aircraft is cleaned up, the APU has been started, and I will see you guys at the gate. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was fun as always. Comments, again, feel free to ask away, and as always, the little shameless social media and Twitch plugs. If you look in the description, there are links there to my social media if you have interest in interacting with me on social media. And there is also a link to my Twitch profile, which is where I live stream, primarily flight simulation, some other games as well. So if that interests you, you're welcome to check that out and follow me there. You'll get email notifications whenever I go live. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight. Again, questions and so forth in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care, everyone. If I could speak. All right, guys. Bye bye.